7 November 2023, and today I've got a continuation of the revelation of some of the extremely crazy things that are happening in Zimbabwe, especially in the banking sector of Zimbabwe. And today I am going to be touching on the Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Bank, which is owned by the Zimbabwe government. And this bank has got such an important function in society because our women are underrepresented in the economy, and the intention behind this bank is fantastic. This bank was formed in 2018, just before we had the lockdowns. And what has happened is really unheard of. This bank has been audited by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, and the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has released a statement uh, earlier this year in which they said they found corporate governance and risk management weaknesses at the bank. And the craziest thing about this bank is that it has made a loss in their financial statements issued this week of 2.5 billion. That is the loss. After they were given 2 billion by the Zimbabwe government, and now they are requesting for 5 million US dollars. The board of this bank had 7 people at the beginning of last year. And now they have 4 people in the board. Right, so let me show you. I used to work at Trust Towers. Trust Towers, my office was on the 11th floor, and I was overlooking the Harare Gardens. Beautiful office. Now, this is the people who are left on the board. Right, this is the website. I think they took the ZABG website, and they also took the ZABG SARS offices. So that's Dr. Tichawana Kunaka, who is the chairman of the board. That's Rumbidzai Ninja. And then that's Julia Mapungwana, who is from the Ministry of Women. And then there's Dr. Mandas Marikanda, who is the Chief Executive Officer. 4, if I'm not mistaken, of the board members have been fired during the year. As I said, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has conducted an audit on this bank, and it has found that there's crazy corruption here in the bank. But the funny thing is that they did nothing. So if you ask Mnangagwa right now what he has done about this bank, after he found out that it's corrupt, the board, the committees are not sitting, it's insolvent, it's got no revenue, what has Mnangagwa done about it? It's nothing. So that is why you see that the Zimbabwe economy is in shambles. The guys that you have in charge there, starting with ED, going to Mnangagwa, going to the guys in the banks, like if you look at the guys here, what banking experience does Dr. Matthews Chawana have? Rumbidzai Ninga, Julia Mapungwana, she's from the ministry. I understand why she's here. Dr. Mandas Marikanda, what is a banking experience? These people that are running our economy, they don't understand what needs to be done. And we'll unpack it tonight. We have a big problem here. Nothing is happening in Zimbabwe. Nothing is going to happen as long as you got this team that is there. The team led by Idi Mnangagwa has become a problem, and we've been raising these issues. They do not want to address the issues. If you go to ED's office with a file showing everything that is wrong with the Zimbabwe's Women's Microfinance Bank, NBS Bank, NASA, all these things, and you say, President, here is what is wrong. Tomorrow you're going to find these people still there. You're going to find Dr. Mandas Marikanda still there. She's going to be driving a Benz, driving out of Trust Towers from the back there. She's going to be having a bonus in a month's time, and she's going to have a house and school fees allowances, because the 2.5 billion is being paid for from the government. They don't have to have revenue, these guys. They don't know how to run banks. They don't have to have revenue. Mangunja doesn't care that the economy is being mismanaged. The banking sector has got a bank that is not supposed to be there. The youth bank, women's bank, NBS, all these insolvent banks, they're there. But Mangunja is going to write a letter and say there's an insolvent bank, there's corruption, there is poor corporate governance. And in the financial statement, they show that there will never be revenue in that bank. And the biggest problem with these guys, as I said, they don't know how to do banking. Uh, and I wish people would understand what banking is. I worked at a bank where there was revenue. A bank can generate crazy, crazy amount of money if you're innovative. But these guys, they are not innovative. They like to extract from the bank. They don't know how to create revenue. So let's look at some of the things that they're doing. And I don't want you guys to laugh. Dr. Mandas Marikanda. Let's see what she's doing. Okay, there is Dr. Mandas Marikanda's projects. They're coming, they're coming. Look at what your 2.5 billion has got us. Right. Grinding mill, Chigayo, right? Pop pop gun. I think my popcorn. Solar system, hammer mill, Chigayo food, beekeeping, horticulture. Let's go a bit higher. Peanut butter making machine. If you go to here in South Africa, you get this thing for 5,000 rand. Sewing machine, I can get it for you for $100. Poultry, Miller tractor, poultry egg, events and decor, Mpedzanamo, stationery, grinding mill, garment making. Right, I want to take you to the buns. This girl, she's making buns here and solar and brick making and incubator. This is what is in their financial statements. I'm not lying to you. I'm not joking. A whole bank which was given 2.5 billion by the government is requesting 5 million US dollars. And the things that they have is grinding mill, stationery and printing incubator. Incubator is $500, I think, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, 1,000. So, what is the problem? The problem is, firstly, there's no revenue. Obviously, there's corruption. If you look at how many times the guys who were fired have sat in committees, you will laugh. And there was Lashas Kunaka here, and probably think is related to Dr. Matthews here. So there's obviously conflicts already. Ndogo Zumkandla, Chipo Bebe, Obedingwenya, these people were fired from the board, I think. And then that leaves the 4 people on the board. So without trivializing this issue, you can see that this really good bank that should be serving people is mismanaged, is misdirected. But the biggest problem is the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe should not have these government banks just sitting there, people drawing salaries, executive salaries. So the 5 million that you're going to get from the women's Minister of Women is going to go to Dr. Manda's salary. That's all. That's all that they're going to do there. There is nothing happening in these banks. Everything that is happening around the Reserve Bank is rotten, is corrupt. And these guys don't know their mandate. Mangunja yesterday, I think he was opening a call center for a telecoms company. I think it's one of the telcos there. These guys are not doing any banking. I've said to you, the problem we have in Zimbabwe is our currency. Do you know that if these guys were to fix the currency, take the $5 million that they want to give Dr. Mandas and find 5 ATMs, put one in Bulawayo, one in Harare, one in Vic Falls, one in Masvingo, one in Mutare, and load cash in those ATMs. Then every month they take $4 for every 100 that a person withdraws. They will have enough revenue to run this bank, but they're not able to think about it. They're not able to do anything. At the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, there is the only thing that they do there is money laundering. That is the only thing that they do at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. That is why when they do an audit at a bank and they found it insolvent, they find it with no money, they find corruption, they find that the projects that are being done, they are chicken and egg and all those stupid projects, then they do nothing because there's a whole set of um, conflicts in the system. This economy is being mismanaged. If this economy was being managed properly, we're going to do very, very well. And our country was not going to be in the current condition that it is. Zimbabwe is a very, very wealthy country, but the team that is in charge right now, very, very weak, very, very corrupt. And the conflicts that they have, you will see that next year, the Minister of Women is going to give her 5 million to continue with this until the whole thing just collapses and everyone forgets about it. You remember I talked about this bank when it was formed. I also talked about the youth bank when it was formed. These should not be banks. You should take all these things, put them together, and create a divisions. So, like a little division or an association that you give money, like small enterprise development corporation, right? SEDCO. You remember SEDCO? You take SEDCO, you make Dr. Mandas a manager inside SEDCO in charge of women. You get another guy, you make him a manager in charge of youth. You get another guy, you make him a manager in charge of housing or whatever, builders. Not what they're doing now to create banks and banks which are insolvent, which are being run by people with no banking experience, and which are causing a lot of problems in the banking system. Because once you have that bank in the system, you give it a code, people have to deposit, people have to withdraw, and so forth and so forth. You have a big problem here, and the problem starts at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, straight to ED's office. ED is not monitoring these things. You can imagine all these people I'm telling you about, they're in one street. They're separated by Mbane under the statue. All of them. These banks I've been telling you about. Reserve Bank, NBS, NASA, Pamun Mutapa, and you go down there to Trust Towers. It's a very, very corrupt area. If you say the central business area, the district, this one is the central corruption district of Zimbabwe. That is where everything happens. And it's not even laughable what's happening with these guys. And someone says, I'm a CEO of a bank. Remember what we said about MBS. They build 120 houses. These guys on their financial statement, they've got a lady with 20 bricks. That is the project that they did with this girl. They've got a project with a grinding mill. I can buy a grinding mill here very easily. These are not projects. And let me tell you what projects are for women. There is a company here in South Africa. So I want you guys to Google this company called Sweep South, right? Google Sweep South. It employs millions and millions of people. Well, let's say thousands and thousands, right? Let's not exaggerate. These people, how did this company start? One girl started this company. And what it does is women who want to clean houses, they go and register themselves on the platform. And then they go and clean. Then she takes a portion of the money, she pays that person. She vets those people. That's a girl. Millions worth of company. It won awards, that company. That's the company you want in Zimbabwe. There is a girl in Zimbabwe who did a company, a restaurant that does healthy foods. You should go to Trevor Ngube's website. That girl, she needs a funding from a company like Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance Bank. There is a lady who's looking for funding who did uh, what do you call this mbanje, the hemp, right? She needs funding. She's got a farm already. You've got women who are doing proper projects. We don't see them here. What we're seeing is these little projects that mean nothing, and people will not pay you back because they can't pay you back because they've got no revenue. If I sell my 20 bricks, someone pays me back. I'll take your money and I'll take the money that they gave me and then you will never see me again. That is why this bank doesn't do well. And on your board, you need competent people. You need a competent CEO. You need these current people who are there to be dismissed. Already, 4 of them have gone away by themselves. Your board is not complete. You need to complete that board. And as I said, you need to combine all these banks into SEDCO. That SEDCO which was there. And these things need to make sense. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, very, very competent people there. And this thing is cascading towards the whole government. And I'm not saying this just because I don't like guys at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. I do like them, but I don't like how they behave. The problem that we have in Zimbabwe needs a solution, a leadership solution. Do you see me? I'm not someone who is extremely educated. I just have an MBL. These guys are doctors. Dr. Matthews, Dr. Marikanda, you guys are doctors, right? How come you can't think of such simple things that I'm thinking about? These simple things that makes a difference to the people that you're supposed to serve. Women. Do you know how important it is to empower women? And you guys are not doing it. I came there to Zimbabwe and I went to Zida. Very, very disappointed. Nobody could answer my phones in the ministries when I went to Zida. I went to Zida looking for people to talk to. I tried to register my company when I was over there. And it took the intervention of some people for me to get that registration. Why? Because there is disarray in the system. The government is not functional. The current government is not functional. And guys are doing what they want. They're not being monitored. They're not doing anything. And when these things are brought to light, nothing happens. That is why the NDS, National Delivery Development Strategy, whatever, it will never come to fruition. If this government is not holding, there is a problem. Everything that they've created is not working, and it needs to be solved. Now I gave you the numbers. I'm not talking theory here. Let's see what they do. Let's see what they do about MBS. Let's see what they do about NASA. Let's see what they do about Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance Bank. Very, very critical parts of the economy of Zimbabwe. And if you fix this, then you fix the economy. So let's see how they work on it. Now let's take the comments. I want to wrap this up and I want to take a rest. Mr. Mini saying, hello, Gambakwe. Thank you for your coverage of Zimbabwe events. It's my pleasure to talk to you guys. And do you know that in other countries, media houses actually have a good relationships with their government? And when I was in Zimbabwe, right, I tried to get hold of the guys at the Ministry of Information. I'm a very nice guy. I tried to get hold of the guys at the Ministry of Information to meet them and talk to them. You know what they did? They went and took some YouTubers from Ghana, right? Can you believe it? They thought that a YouTuber from Ghana has got more followers in Zimbabwe than Gambakwe. I don't believe it. And they took them to Vic Falls and tried to improve the image of the country. The Zimbabwe government does not know what is happening. They have no clue. And this is the problem. These things I'm raising here for you, that government will never produce anything because of this kind of thing. They're not delivering at the level where they need to deliver. And they need someone who knows. The people that we have right now, they don't know. They are there. When you look at their faces, they've taken a bath, but they do not know what they're supposed to do. That is the problem. It lacks a team that can that can deliver, and that team is not there. The only day when you're going to see deliver in Zimbabwe is when you have a new government. Then you see things changing. The current government that you have, even if you're to stand there with a formula, a paper which says step one, fire Mangunja, step two, close all the non-insolvent banks, step three, put an ATM and put cash in the ATM and charge fees, step four, increase production. They don't know. They will not know what to do. They are So incompetent. Right, let's say DK, Gabagolo channel is getting toxic or being hijacked by one lady who doesn't show her face. But like, oh, you're talking about the Mayere story. I'm so sorry, man. I love Mayere so much. I'm sorry about that. I saw those stories, but they're out there. So I'll ask you to tone down on those stories. Let's go to we need a non-partisan collective movement in Zimbabwe to rescue ourselves. We're in trouble, my fellow countrymen. Mnangagwa is consolidating his power in plain sight. Mnangagwa is going to be gone very, very soon. He's in his last term. Don't worry about Mnangagwa. Worry about what is going to happen after. Because the problem is the system. The system is broken. Look at what I'm showing you now. It's got nothing to do with Mnangagwa. He appointed the wrong people. He didn't put the full board. But even the people in the system, they are broken. So what it means is when you remove Mnangagwa, you now have to go and remove everyone. You now have to go to NASA and remove everyone. You now have to go to RBZ to remove everyone. Go to every place where there's government. You have to remove all the people. And that is not going to be easy. And then Hyom says, Van Stuart Bank, Stuart Bank, one of the most profitable banks. Why? Let me tell you why. A bank is profitable. You charge fees. You have remittances coming in. You charge fees. You've got EcoCash transactions. You charge fees. You have to charge fees. You have to have ways of raising revenue. What is the revenue model of the Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance Bank? Do they know how to create value? Answer that question, and then you understand why they're not making money. And you understand why all the banks in Zimbabwe are broken. If you look at the problems that we have with the Zimbabwe government, they create good structures, but they don't know how to operationalize them, and they don't know how to deliver value to the people. We talked about NBS Bank. So let's say you got 40,000 soldiers, police, teachers, and so forth in Zimbabwe, right? Civil service. I said to them, build houses where each of those people is going to be paying a mortgage of $200 a month. So that means you multiply 200 by 40,000 a month. Already you've got revenue. And the 40,000 is doable, right? And every person who is in the army, who is in the police, who is in teaching now has a house. It was done before. If you go to Zimbabwe, to Bulawayo, sorry, you go to Bulawayo, there were houses there with a kitchen, a little sitting room, and a toilet. It was called a core house in 1980. I think it was the United Nations. They came there and they built a suburb called Nkulumane, Nketa, and so forth. All those suburbs that you see there. And those houses were given to low income earners. The stand on those houses was between 150 square meters to 300 square meters. The land that is around Harare, that is lying fallow and unplanned, is unimaginable. This is where you need people like Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance Bank, who are going to come and create women's stores. We should be seeing women selling places that are properly fixed, where women are allocated things and they charge, you charge them money every month so that they can use. We want to see you with a mall run by a woman. You go and take a loan using the 5 million that the government is going to give you. You build a mall somewhere in Glenview, whatever. Do you see that place where it's burning all the time in Glenview? You need to go there and build factory shelves, right? Fix it up nicely. There is so much that you can do to generate revenue, but because the money is just coming, they're lazy. So Dr. Mendes Marikanda, she won't do it. She will not think of these things. And Dr. Matthews is a man. He's not supposed to be a chairman of a women's bank. He's supposed to be doing other things. So these are the kind of things that I'm talking about. The system totally broken, and ED doing the things that is not supposed to be to be doing. You see, like opening a dump today. I saw him opening a dump. So we'll talk about that, what he was opening there. I want to unpack the finances behind that whole thing and also the alleged corruption. But this bank, the West, I felt so much pain when I saw this Zimbabwe women microfinance bank because our mothers, they've gone through so much under this economy. And the people that are supposed to uplift them are not doing it. The people who are supposed to build houses at NASA are not doing it. It's complete chaos. If you go to the youth bank, nothing's happening there. If you look at the Mutapa Fund, what they've done, we'll look at the board next week. All these things are not working. And the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is the center of the problems in Zimbabwe. Nothing's happening there. Nothing's going to be done. And yet the solutions are so simple. There is no investor who wants to come to Zimbabwe. They cannot fix the politics. ED is refusing to have dialogue. Like it is literally saying no to dialogue. And yet the opposition says, come, let's talk, let's fix this situation. And your election has been discredited. Your judges have been discredited. And yet you sit there with this current situation. How is it going to end? This is the problem that we have. And I think we've covered this. I hope that there'll be some action on these issues that were raising, the financial issues. Very, very bad situation in Zimbabwe. And I keep looking at these things. The Zimbabwe government totally mismanaged and lack of skills, putting the wrong people in the wrong places. Some of the people are not supposed to be doing what they're doing right now. Right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And I hope that you go and watch Senator Kalpani Pugen's. He did an opinion piece this evening where he said that I've never seen the inside of a law book. So you must go, and that's what guys are complaining about. They're saying, and you are saying Sengezo should negotiate with Chamisa. So go and have a look at that video. Thank you very much for watching. And today is Wednesday. So tomorrow I'll be back. Let's see what we look at the nomination, or maybe Dr. Mtene will be here. We'll see who has been nominated, what are the implications of the by-elections, and we unpack the issues that are happening in our country. Beautiful, beautiful country, but mismanaged. And I know that some of the things I'm talking about here are beyond the people who are supposed to be fixing it. They do not get it, and they'll never get it. So we have to wait for a new government that has got the correct people. Then things will move. Thank you very much, and good night.
Kuno abo bano mama wanna get it nice. I know Buddha meso, I know Buddha nzebe, I know kaya marigi. Kama kwetu tikom, kwetu tikom usasai.
Kamba kwe uyo anotara mari anogaya mari garai mamunzwa pane nyaya pano zvamunoda kunzwa zvinotaurwa pano madiko kumunzwa mugovane.com. Kamba kwe vanogaya mari vanotaura mari vanoziya mari. Kamba kwe vanotaura feya kuti pamberi zvichafamba sei. Vanhu terere zvikubatsirei mukufamba kwenyu zvikubatsirei. Mirai ndikudze kuti chokwadi pano chizere. Kamba kwe vanogaya cash vanopa mafacts vanotaura straight vane evidence vane confidence plus intelligence.
Entertainment, current affairs and news. Kamba kwe.com. Usasarire kamba kwe anugaya mari.